Hello, I'm Lindsay from Game Digits, and I'll be going through the making of Love Panic for the Love Bytes VR Game Jam. And this is day 3. So previously I created a new project, made a Trello board, had a think, started with a VR framework, whiteboxed the environment, I put in some characters to make them think, then made a machine to combine objects, started to model the environment in Blender, then modelled various objects like flowers to combine in the machine. After all that, I was hungry, so I made a bunch of cakes.
Yummy!
Next up is the Colour Picker machine panel. Here I am scripting and modelling various bits. This is where the player can turn on and off the red, green and blue buttons in order to make various colours. These are RGB values, so red and green make yellow and red and blue make purple. The resulting colour is then shown underneath, which is used to colour the material on the object created. Another mechanic I wanted to add to the game was the ability to respond to questions that your date had. In this case, it was an anniversary, and the player had to answer questions correctly, otherwise you'd be in the doghouse. For this, I added a speech bubble on the character and a panel on the machine where the player could choose a multiple choice answer, just like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I then had a scriptable object which held all the questions and answers, where the correct answer was always the first one, but the options would then be randomised on the machine panel when they're shown to the player. I then added a love letter next to the machine so the player can look up the answers in the text. However, in real life, it's best to take notes and swat up just before the anniversary happens.
What?
Anyway, the next thing to do was the overall game flow. It seems quite early on, I know, but it's good to have various scenes in place and have them load in and out like the final game would, even if they're pretty much empty. This is so you're not in a mad rush near the end, trying to piece the whole thing together, making code and structures work surrounding one big scene. I tend to script a specific key that when it's pressed will always complete the current objective. So when you keep pressing this key all the way through the game, you quickly jump from one part to another in the same order as the player would. It really helps for testing and debugging the flow of your game, because you really don't want to have to play through the whole game just to test something near the end. Or if there's a bug in a specific place, you can get there quickly just by tapping the complete objective key. Another thing I wanted to add was a character that guides you through the game. I think characters are great for this. They can convey a lot of information to the player in an entertaining way. Far better than a wall of text or a set of instructions, such as press this button or pull this thing over here. Especially in VR, where there's usually a lot to explain. You might even have players who are completely new to the experience. I also think adding a character gives a lot more personality to the game. So I added the logic for the character and used an existing model and animation I already had, ready to be replaced later. So that's it for day 3. I created a Colour Picker machine panel, added questions from your date and an answer panel, put together the game flow with buttons to complete or fail the current objective, and I also added the beginnings of a guide character. Thank you for watching day 3 of the Love Panic devlog, and I'll see you in day 4.